Here comes the bride. For better or for worse. We'll live happily ever after. Till death do us part.
Good evening and welcome to another 31 Days of Horror update. This is actually day 10 and I'm falling behind. But tonight we are going to talk about a film you saw, well maybe you didn't, but if you've been following all my videos you saw the pickup. It was $9.99, regularly $24.99. And my girlfriend, when I showed it to her, mentioned that she had wanted to see that when it was in theaters, but never got around to it. So, perfect candidate for a date night, and by date night I mean on a couch watching a movie. Yes. Nothing says bring your girlfriend than scary pregnancy movies. That's right, we are talking about the 2014 movie Devil's Due. And it was actually apparently directed by two people. I did not know that. And I've never heard of either of them. Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett. Whatever. Never heard of them. Again, it's another one of those films. Got a whole bunch of people I don't know in the film. Allison Miller, Zach Gilford, Sam Anderson, Roger Payano, Vanessa Ray are essentially the main characters there. And it plays... it plays like a found footage film, except here's the thing, folks. It's not just the main character's camcorder, and they also had like a GoPro type thing going on. No, it's not just that. Eventually, there are some hidden cameras installed into their house, so there's footage from that. There's also footage from like security cameras. So clearly this isn't one of those things where people die and then the cops find the footage and they put it up. No, I don't know why this movie was made out of this footage. I think I don't think you can actually call it a found footage film because the footage wasn't really found. I think the people who would have put this together, if you're going by the idea that this was a film put together from footage that existed, would have had to have been put together by evil characters in the film, as if they were documenting the events. That would be the only thing I can think of, but they don't really say that. But yeah, it's essentially it's shot just like a found footage film. There's no real difference in that sense. It's got all the aspects, first person perspective, a lot of home video type footage. Like I said, then there's hidden camera footage just to break up the, I guess, monotony of it. It's obviously a style choice and a way to shoot the film on a lower budget and make it look like it was on purpose, I guess. The idea behind the film is this newlywed couple on their honeymoon goes down to I don't know, I think it was some South American island or something like that. I believe they were speaking Spanish, if I remember correctly, for their honeymoon, and they they don't speak the language whatsoever. And they get essentially lost. And a cab driver, pulls over, and they're like, oh, great, here's a cab, and they take the cab, and instead of, this is the night before they're supposed to go home, and instead of going home, like to the resort, like saying to the cab, let's go to the resort, the cabbie decides, hey, I'm going to take you to where the party's at, and they're like, oh, okay, sure, why not? And he essentially takes them to this underground, no way you'd ever find this place, club bar thing that's literally buried under the earth, underneath some shack somewhere, that they have to go through slums to get to. And it did seem like a pretty cool place to visit, but essentially they get really, really drunk, and some stuff happens. Next thing you know, they wake up and they are having to catch their plane. So they get home, and wifey finds out she's pregnant. Bum bum bum. This is where it takes sort of the Omen turn, right? It's it's called Devil's Due. I just referenced the Omen. You figure it out. But it does play off very much like a ghost story. Weird things start happening. The wife starts acting differently. People start doing things that they wouldn't normally do. And a lot of supernatural events, almost superpowerish, if you will, things take place, and people start, dying, and eventually the husband sort of pieces enough of it together to realize something is going on and there's something wrong. I don't think he ever really figures it out. And at the end, it climaxes to the birth of the child and all hell breaking loose. And it's not entirely scary. There are a few moments where they give you a little jump scare, but due to the way it's shot, it's not edited very well to create the suspense or tension that you would need to make the jump scares really effective, or make the film scary. There are a couple of moments where, because of the style of shooting, the jump scare works simply because it's totally unexpected. But for the most part, when it's trying to build that up to that jump scare, it doesn't work. It's the edits are way too early. Things aren't allowed to draw out. It's definitely there are a couple of moments where you're like, oh, they were almost there. Had they just held it a little bit longer, it probably would have worked a lot better. But the tension just wasn't there in this film, unfortunately, because it did try a few times to pull it off, unsuccessfully, of course. That being said, my lovely girlfriend, her big problem with it is she didn't like the superpowers. She didn't like the fact that, I don't know, maybe she was going more for a ghost movie or something, even though, I don't know, it was something about the fact that, people were getting thrown around without being touched, and that bothered her, and I was like, but this is a supernatural entity, like, ghosts, if it's a strict ghost movie, nobody's touching anything, people are just flying and thrown places. So she didn't like that for some reason. I don't know, I guess it popped her out of the movie. It didn't get her into it because of it. I didn't have a problem with that per se, but we both had a problem with the fact that A, it wasn't really scary, B, nothing really happens. There's no sense of real urgency or terror going on. A lot of the stuff, the standard thing, the husband doesn't believe the wife, doctors don't believe, things, like standard type of things that, obviously one person feels there's something going on and there's something wrong, but nobody believes them. That allows for story development, but it doesn't really, whatever, you're just watching it, you don't really get invested in anything. And yeah, it was kind of boring. Like, it really was boring. And like, considering how many direct-to-video movies I watch, which are like entertaining, well, like really, really well done, and full-on like movie productions, Devil's Due, which got a theatrical release, like, seriously, garbage, absolute garbage in comparison to a lot of this stuff. And I'm glad. Like, at first, after I watched it, I was like, did I go to see this in theaters? And I checked back, I did not. And I'm glad I did. Like, if I spend money on that, gee, I did spend money on it. I bought it. I own it. Oh my god, that's scarier than the movie. The thought that I own this now, and I can't get rid of it. Because if I get rid of it, I'll be cursed. That's how it works, right? If you get rid of the bad movie, it'll come back to haunt you. Devil's Due. Ask that dude. He didn't like it either. Take care, guys. Till the next video. Hopefully it's better than Devil's Due.